Welcome to Module 1 of JavaScript Beginner to Advanced series. In this module, I would actually be setting up our environment to write JavaScript code. And to set up our environment is very easy. As soon as you have a computer, you have your environment automatically set up because what we're going to use is a browser. So every computer actually comes with an inbuilt browser, and I'm running Windows, so actually I want to use Internet Explorer. So I'll just open that up with a shorthand, and yes, we have our browser in here. Now over here, we can't actually write any code here. We can't write anything here. But what we can do is we can actually toggle a console so that we can write our JavaScript code. So just right click on your browser anywhere and then click on inspect elements. And then we have this console. Okay, we have this element sector first. Then when you click up here, you have your console. And it's in this console we're actually going to write all our JavaScript code. But before then, I want to introduce the syntax of JavaScript to you even before we come back to the console. And that is, did you know that this is JavaScript? Yes, you did this in grade 1. Your class teacher would come and write something like 2 plus box equal 5. What you were not told is, this is the beginning or the basis of a programming language called JavaScript. Yes, you were not told this, but this is programming. That is JavaScript. So as we're in school and we progressed, they actually changed this box we have here to an X. And most people got confused and they called it equations. Yes, that's what we did. So over here, you realize that this X actually stands for a number. And that is what JavaScript actually does. That's what we call JavaScript variables. So we're going to learn a bit about JavaScript variables, and after then we would go to our console and write some code. Alright, so what is a variable in the first place? A variable is basically a container that contains items. So when you pick a basket and you put mangoes inside, the basket will be a variable because it contains mangoes or it contains items inside it. So that container becomes a variable. So this is a very basic concept of variables. As I said earlier on, the X actually represents a number. It means it contains a number. But when we look down here, you find that I equated X to be equal to 3. You get, so everywhere we see X or anywhere we see X, we actually replace that with 3. So it means X is now a container of 3. So X becomes a variable. So that is all about declaring variables in JavaScript. But this is not actually a right way of declaring variables in JavaScript. So in declaring variables with JavaScript, we need to use the var keyword. And anytime we use the var keyword, then that becomes the right syntax for declaring variables with JavaScript. So if we use the var keyword, then it becomes valid. If we do not use the var keyword, it's invalid. And that's not how to declare variables in JavaScript. So I want us to test this out in our console. So just go back to your browser and then we test this out. So when we write X is equal to 10, let's see, we get 10. But anytime we write X, what do we see? We get 10. Anytime we write X, what do we see? We get 10. So it means right now we have actually made X to be equal to 10. And that is just a way of writing a variable because the X now contains 10. So when I do 10 plus X, what do you think the answer would be? 20. Why? Because X now is a variable that contains 20. So that is all about variables. But I said earlier on that if I write X is equal to a value, let's say 12, this is actually wrong because it's not being declared properly as a variable. So before it can be declared properly as a variable, I need to write the var keyword, var. And anything I write after this becomes a variable. So I can write X is now equal to, let's say 12. And then this becomes a valid variable. You find out that it did not execute it after I wrote that. So it said undefined. When I write X and I execute that, now we see 12. And let me explain this before you get confused. You find that in my code, I have a semicolon at the end of it. In JavaScript, pretty much this whole line is considered as a statement. And anytime you write a statement, you need to end it with a period in English. So in programming or in JavaScript, you have to end it with a semicolon. So more or less like the boy is going to school, full stop. That's a statement. So when you're writing a statement in JavaScript, you end with a semicolon. Alright, so we'll work pretty much with that. You understand it better. So now, the variable cannot just contain numbers, it can contain letters as well. So if I do variable is equal to, and if I want to write a sentence, I need to put it in double quotes to show that I want to write letters in here. So when I write JavaScript is awesome, now it means that, oh, I have not assigned this to anything, so I'm sorry for that. Let me assign this to, let's say, JS for JavaScript. You can basically name your variables anything. So now J is equal to JavaScript is awesome. So anytime we write JS, we get JavaScript is awesome. So that's as simple as it gets. That is how we declare variables in JavaScript. Now in the next tutorial, I'll be teaching you more about how to declare right names for JavaScript, right variables for JavaScript, and then we would walk into creating a basic calculator with JavaScript. You just begun to create an application already. That's awesome. Alright, so stay tuned and then wait for our next tutorial. Thank you.